Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today it's the 1992 Lincoln penny from the United States of America. We can see it right here. On the front we have President Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Right above his head it says, "In God We Trust." Behind him it says "Liberty." And then if you look down here, you'll see on each of these what the mint is. On this one, no mint mark, so it's a Philadelphia. This one, D for Denver, and this one, S for San Francisco, which is, of course, in 1992, a proof set coin. You can kind of see the little differences in some of the shines to these. Now, these are all really shiny, as you can probably tell, and that's because these two here, the Philadelphia and the Denver, came from an uncirculated mint set. And that's what we have back here in the background. So when you get an uncirculated mint set, in the old days they would put tokens in. Sometimes it'd be kind of plastic or some kind of hard cardboard almost. But in this year, 1992, they put in these kind of same exact material as the penny. It's a copper covered zinc. And that's what's inside these pennies, is a copper covered zinc. And I'll show you that in a second, one of the ways that we can tell. And if we look at this one here, it has a P on it. So that means the uncirculated Philadelphia coins came with this in them. And then the uncirculated Denver coins came with this D in them. What's on the front? It's the same on both. It's the U.S. Mint logo. And it's the Treasury of the United States. Treasury, U.S. Mint, it says here. And there's the scales of justice. And here's the stars. And here's the key. And this is, I guess, the three symbols that they want to represent the U.S. Mint. How many stars are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 stars, so we know what that means. All right, so let's get rid of these tokens. Oh, people want to know what the tokens are worth. They're not worth that much. Collectors just aren't that interested in them. They only come in mint sets. You can't get them in general circulation. And people in general aren't going to ever get them in their change. So, they are kind of just an add-on to the mint sets. Some people collect them, but they're not hugely valuable. All right, let's go back to these coins. The 1992 Philadelphia coin we have right here. If we tip it up on its edge, we see that it is a smooth edge and pretty shiny and nice. And then we get onto the back and we see this says United States of America, E Pluribus Unum. 1 cent at the bottom. Way over here on the right is an FG, and that's for Frank Gasparo, the engraver of the back of these coins. And this is the Lincoln Memorial or Lincoln Monument in Washington, D.C. And way deep inside, if you tip it up, you can see Lincoln kind of ghosting right from inside there. And if you get to the Lincoln Monument, you'll be able to see Lincoln sitting inside on this huge, I think it's probably granite chair. You can see the different levels of steps coming down. There's some almost like plants or something here in these big containers. I was going to say urns, but I don't know if that's what they are. But so this is what the 1 cent looks like from Philadelphia. No mint mark. In addition, we have the 1 cent from Denver. And Denver is going to have the D mint mark. And everything else is going to be the same, except one of the things we didn't look at yet is the initials on these. If you get one of these coins, these copper-plated zinc coins, they are spectacular until they get circulated, and then you start losing everything. They kind of get spotty, they get worn. They don't get that nice brown patina usually. About half of them do, half of them don't. But right here we see a V, a D, and a B, and that's for Victor David Brenner, who engraved these coins first in 1909. And then finally we see the S here for the San Francisco Mint. And you can see this one has a kind of a funny finish on it. And that happens sometimes, this kind of mottling, M-O-T-T-L-I-N-G. And it's when the metals cool, it's slightly different rates on top of the other metals. And so that's fine. And I kind of like these. And I generally save these when I get them. But it is just a sign that this coin was made of metal. And it was hot metal when they put these together. Now, some of you might have been looking at this coin when I was tipping it back and forth and saying, what is that up there on his head? Like, what is that little line up there on his forehead? So let's take a look at that. And that's something that I've seen in a lot of these 1992 coins. It's almost like, sometimes people have like a little blood vessel up there in their forehead. So there's this little line up there. I don't believe it's a die crack because I'm seeing it on most of these coins. Let's see if we can get this. Yeah, so you can see that line up there. Now let's look at it. That's on the San Francisco Mint version. Let's look at the Denver Mint version. And there's the lines up there, but it's a slightly different one. You just have it just like a different. Let's back these off. Yeah, and so there's a line there. You can see the line there on his forehead. Go in this one. See the line here, and the line's actually a little different on this forehead too. And the hair goes up a little different. So sometimes you get these are all from the same year, from 1992. So then what we do is we pull out a used one, like a one that we have just from our own, and goodness if it isn't on the used one also. So this is one you can see has kind of a patina, and I was talking about how these deteriorate. You can actually see some of the deterioration here, the zinc coming through. But you look up there on his forehead, and there's a line. And then here's another one, a Philadelphia one. Same thing, line on this used one that we got from our change. So that is something that's just part of this die. I don't believe it's a die crack or anything else. I believe it's just something that is part of this particular coin. All right, so the big question. We got the San Francisco Mint here, one. How much is it worth? Well, at the San Francisco Mint, they made 4.1 million, and this one's probably worth about 350 or so at a proof 65. At the Denver Mint in 1992, they made 4.4 billion, and this is an MS65 is worth about 550. And at the San Francisco Mint, they made 4.6 billion. So 9 billion between the two mints in San Francisco. So Philadelphia, 4.6 billion. This one's worth probably around 550 in an MS65. We did look at some die cracks on there, and I want to show you an actual die crack from a 1992, but it's on the back. And it's right here. And you can see how it just kind of line goes up right through the T. That's not from us manipulating the camera or anything. There's actually a die crack on there. And if we tip it just the right way, you can see that the die crack actually comes down and goes through, and you can see a little bit of the zinc coming out from in there. And there's little spots on top of here where the zinc actually came through. So when it hit, and you can't tell this, but it actually bowed it out a little bit. It actually, maybe you can. See, the coin doesn't sit flat. So whatever hit it to cause that die crack at the mint made it a little bit bowed, this one. So that's what a die crack looks like. All right, well, try to collect these coins. If you do see the uncirculated mint sets, feel free to buy one, but look at them first, look into them, and see if the coins look good before you purchase them.